Hey adventurers, welcome to Costa Rica. We are out near Manuel, Antonio, and we are looking for all sorts of creatures at night. One of the cool things about tropical areas like this is nighttime is really the ideal time to go searching for all sorts of critters. Now, it's been a little dry. There hasn't been a ton of rain, so it's really important that we look for some permanent water sources. Sometimes urban structures, hotels may have a little bit like here, and actually there are some frogs to see here. So let me show you what we've got. All right, it's kind of nice. The hotel here has got this permanent water that they have there. I think they pump it in, but there are a number of frogs that are utilizing this. So if we go over here, we can see we've got this tiny little frog with a beautiful X on its back. Well, this is the hourglass tree frog, or the Harlequin Treefrog. You may hear it called those things. This is a small one, but what a beautiful frog. Now, this isn't the only thing that's right here in the area. Look at this big fella here. This is our masked tree frog. It's a little hard to tell from this angle, but if we get it from the side, we can see he's got a mask there. That's where he gets his name. Now, I said there were a couple different species that are utilizing this. So if I walk over here, not very far at all. Now let's see if that frog is still here. Yeah, right here, we have another little guy. You can see this guy doesn't have a ton of markings on him. I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, look at that. You can see right under the lip, there's some white markings. This is the Fitzinger's robber frog. Now, one of the cool things about them is if you look in the water here, we see a ton of tadpoles. I don't know exactly which frogs these tadpoles belong to, but I know that it's not that Fitzinger's robber frog. They don't lay tadpoles. They just come out, they just birth kind of live young, and so they don't have that tadpole stage. Now, there's still more to see at this one little spot. On this little branch here, or this little plant, you can see we've got some tiny frogs that are that haven't even finished metamorphosizing into adult form. There's one, here's another. Now, I'm not 100% sure what species this is, but I am guessing that it is the juvenile of this guy right here. Now, this is one that you probably know well. He's got a really pretty eye. This is, of course, the red-eyed tree frog. And what an excellent example. He's really got some beautiful orange colors coming through as well. Well, frogs aren't the only thing to look out for. Up here, we have a sleeping anole. Now, it's a little hard to see, so I'm not exactly sure what species this is, but a lot of the lizards will go up into the tree, sleep on branches or leaves to stay away from predators at night. And you can often find a lot of them in the same areas that we're looking for our other species. All right. Well, I was able to catch one of these anoles that was a little bit lower down, but I wanted to show you something that's pretty unique to the anoles. They have what's known as a dewlap, and this is a bit of skin under the neck here that they can flare out, and it has all these pretty colors. So you can see lots of reds, a little bit of orange there. So that's one way that we can help identify this guy. I need to look him up, but that is pretty cool. Thanks for showing us that. There's your leaf. Oh, he just jumped right there. I think he'll be all right tonight. So I'm pretty sure that was a Coppery Anole. Now, looking at that dewlap really helps narrow down which species it could be. By the way, we've got that masked tree frog hanging out with us here. Now, of course, when we're out in these places, we have prey species like this. We are also going to be looking for predators. Now, I haven't seen any snakes yet, but hopefully we'll get one at the next site. So let's get out there and see who else is hanging out. All right, before we leave this area, I did want to show you the underside of this leaf here. Look at that. You can see there's actually some eggs there. Now, it looks like that egg mass on the left is mostly gone. Most of the eggs are gone, but on the right, we still got a few. Now, these are from the red-eyed tree frog. They will lay their eggs in places like this, so that way when the tadpoles are big enough, they'll just drop into the water and they'll do their next stage of development down there. And I can see some tadpoles there now. All right, we've had some good frog variety tonight. Look at this guy. This is another species. This is the Rosenberg's gladiator frog. And you can see he's got some excellent webbing in the toe and this little tiny pencil-thin line that goes down his back. Now, what's also neat, they get their name gladiator frog because they're very defensive and they have spines on their arms that they use to gouge out the eyes of other males. Now, he's not the only frog here. Actually, if we go over here, we have one of the biggest frogs in the area. This is the Savage's thin-toed frog. You may hear it referred to as the smoky jungle frog as well. And now where the gladiator frog, he actually spends most of his time in the treetops, just coming down to water areas like this for breeding. The thin-toed frog will actually spend his time on the ground, and I think he may have a burrow somewhere. Looks like that might be a burrow there, and they'll be in there during the daytime. There might be another burrow somewhere else. I can see a frog popping out of there. But so really cool. Two more species of frog here. These are both fairly common. Nothing quite so rare yet. What'd you find? Oh, where?
Face down, spouted nose like a pig.
Oh, sweet. That's a snout nose frog, I think.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at its nose. That's so cool. All right, this is really cool what Tatiana found here. This frog is the Bollinger's, I think, snouted tree frog, and he has got quite the nose there. You can see it's much more pronounced than other frogs we've seen, and just super camouflaged. He really does blend in well with the rest of his little tree here. All right, well, Tatiana, while I was filming one thing, Tatiana goes and finds the next.
Big spider, and then right over here, big spider, and then the big spider web over.
So, huge spider there. I don't know much about him.
But then here's a case.
And a nice big spider web we're going to look. Now, the other cool thing is if we look behind us in the water here, there's actually a ton of caimans. Where'd the baby go, love?
Oh, well, that's the eye of one. Right here, guys. Look in the water, right in front of you. Right there. You see the...
Yep, there's a caiman. All right, this is kind of nice. We can get up close with a common basilisk. He is just sleeping right here. That's nice. Now, this isn't that big for one. They get a bit bigger. Well, there he goes. I'm not going to disturb him too much because they're pretty common. And somewhere in here, there's a frog I need to find, but I don't see him quite yet. Okay, check out this beautiful frog here. Now, this guy is really small. You can see he's like just a little bit bigger than my fingernail, and he is all yellow in color. This is a yellow tree frog. Now, he's not super bright, but he is pretty uniform with that color. So beautiful little frog, one of the smaller ones that we can find out here. So excellent. Doing great on variety. Here is a giant toad. This one is not that big, but still easy to see all the field marks. Now, that parotid gland on the side there, it's kind of triangular, and it is on the side rather than on the back. That's one of our main field marks to know that this is the giant toad and not a different type of toad. So pretty cool. All right, lucky night here. Here is one of those anoles again, asleep, but this one is all green. I think this is our Neotropical green anole. I've only ever seen them about this size. I'm not sure, and I've only ever seen him once before, so nice to see. But he has found a nice spot on the edge of this branch to go to sleep. Pretty high up, maybe 7 feet up in the tree here, so very cool. This is cool. We are not sure what frog this is, but Tatiana spotted it as I walked by. It was right in the open too. So, you know, we'll have to look it up later to figure out what it is, but you can see he's got some like coppery color in the eyes. He's definitely a tree frog. You can see his toe pads at the end of his toes. That's pretty cool. So we'll be able to figure it out, but we'll need internet connection again to figure out if this is a new species or maybe just a juvenile of something else we've seen. We'll have to take a look. All right, this spot is really cool. Tatiana spotted this snouted tree frog there, and there's another one here on this tree. But if we look in between them, right there is another Harlequin tree frog or hourglass tree frog. You can see that sort of dark X on the back. And then if we look up there, looking straight at us, this is another tink frog. So 3 species all here, all together. And this guy keeps calling every time I take the light off of him. And of course, oh, there he goes. Now you can associate the sound with what this frog is. All right, look at this. We got a little toad hopping here. That's so cool. Now he has one of the most gorgeous homes. Look at this waterfall. We got Tatiana here, keeping track of the toad. So cool. Now, one of the great things about Costa Rica is even when you're at touristy locations like this beautiful waterfall, there's still a lot of wildlife to see, even though there are a lot of people. You can see Tatiana here, people in the distance. But the ground is covered with these leaf-littered toads. And they kind of have a frog-like look to them because they don't have the cranial ridges and crests. But these are just little tiny babies. I'm sure they bred in the water here, so that's pretty cool to see. And let's keep an eye out for anything else. The cool thing about these frogs is that they seem to always want to call with their snouts facing down. And so they actually stick out a lot because you can see the silhouette on the trees. Actually, there was another guy who I think went around the backside at the bottom there. But just a cool thing that I noticed that all of the ones that we've seen seem to be sticking down like this. I definitely recommend that when you come and visit Costa Rica, that you do a guided night tour. We did not do one on this trip, but we've done many in the past, and they are often fantastic. They'll get you into really cool places like this. I even got one of the Bollinger's snouted tree frogs hanging out with me here. But they'll help you identify all of the incredible things to find out here. They'll know what the calls sound like. They'll be able to identify some of the cool insects and stuff. So we definitely recommend it. Now, I did not go on a tour on this journey because I've been here a number of times and I wanted to do some exploration on my own so that I could record without other patrons or other people being around and get some cool audio recordings of frogs like this guy. But if it's your first time here, or even if you've been a number of times, that is my recommendation. Do a night tour, come explore some of the really cool things that Costa Rica has to offer. Okay, check out this guy. This is that Rosenberg's gladiator frog that we saw before, but this guy was a little bit easier for us to take a close look. Look at how beautiful this frog is. Now, we have done a really excellent job on this trip. We saw a lot of really common stuff. We had a couple things that were a little harder to see as well. I really hoped you enjoyed this adventure. I'm just going to keep this frog here with me, I guess. Please remember to like and subscribe. I'm Greg Schechter. This is the Gladiator Frog, and I'll see you in the field.